What happened with Knoxville? You just...
Yeah. So in July, I have some friends in the Knoxville Symphony, a guy that I'd played with a few years ago, a violinist. And I have not been auditioning for orchestras in the last 5 years. I've been, sticking to my tech job, rebuilding my session career, doing some talking on podcasts, and just seeing what's out there, trying to survive. I'm in the throes of parenting, so I'm not looking to take any huge risks right now or move or relocate. But a friend from the Knoxville Symphony in July was like, hey, man, haven't talked to you in a few years, but I've seen what's happened to you, and I think it's ridiculous. And we're having a principal clarinet audition here in September. And I don't know if you're looking to get back into the game, but you should come out. And I was like, oh, okay. Share a little info. He sends me the information. And this is a much smaller orchestra. To boil it down, it would have been like, if I had gotten the job, it would have been about $1,000 a week, which to a guy like me would make a difference. Not only that, it would put me back in the game and get me playing, which is good for my psychology, and it might lead to many other opportunities, because if you're a principal player in an orchestra, you're more likely to get hired for clinics or freelance work or whatever. So I gave it a little bit of thought, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go see if I can win this audition, because I'm, 43 years old. I'm not in Olympic shape. Winning one of these auditions, you have to practice like a crazy person. So I thought about it, and I said, all right, I can envision a world where I'm kind of going back and forth, and all my family lives here. My parents live here. My wife's family lives here. So I'll go back and forth. I'll get like a crash pad out there, and, I'll make it work somehow. I'm not going to think too deeply about this. I'm just going to try to win the blind audition. So this is in mid-July. I start, getting my game face on. I'm practicing 2-3 hours a day. My kids are falling asleep at night to the sound of me practicing. They're waking up in the morning to the sound of me practicing. All day Saturday, 6 hours practicing. And I put the whole thing on X. I posted every step of the way. And a lot of people got really interested in it. I got some new followers, and I started posting little clips of myself, soliciting feedback. And I had, other students and orchestra musicians saying, hey, if you want to send me a recording, like a mock audition, I'll send you some feedback. So I was putting it up on YouTube and soliciting comments. Like, everybody was really kind of behind me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I don't want to have to explain to all these people that I went out there and lost. Like, how mortifying would that be? So I just cannot lose.
Yeah.
So I put everything, and this big landscaping project I had undertaken, I totally put it aside. And, many nights where I could have spent time with my wife, I'm down in the basement slaving away. And I'm starting to sound good. And I'm thinking, I just want to go out there in this audition and play my A game, because I think my A+ game is as good as there is. So I went out there, stayed with some friends. I got some really close friends in Knoxville. And I won the audition unanimously. It's a 2-day-long audition, September 15th and 16th. And I went out there. The whole thing was blind. No unscreened final round. They had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
I knew going in I would probably be the most qualified candidate, because most of the candidates who play at my level already have jobs in bigger orchestras. Like, nobody's going to leave the Houston Symphony to play in the Knoxville Symphony.
Sure.
I was like, this is a job I can win. Let's see if I can win it. So I did. And I was so pumped. Seriously, I was overjoyed. I'm like, I still got it. All that work, about 100 hours of time went into this. And I get a call 2 days later from their CEO saying, hey, some stuff has come to our attention about your employment in the Nashville Symphony, and we're not going to offer you a contract of employment here in Knoxville, and we're not willing to enter into any discussion of this matter with you. Our decision is final. Best of luck to you. And I just said on the phone, I said, very unfortunate, and I hung up on him.
Wow.
Yeah, I did not see that coming, because I sent my resume. Everyone knows who I am, who's looking at the resume. They could have looked at the articles. They could have looked at my podcast. They could have read my X feed. They know where I stand on DEI. They know what I've gone through. They know I have not apologized for any of the allegations that are made against me, which are totally fake, things that have been alleged that I said, or that I'm a stalker for driving past somebody's house in my neighborhood. I'm not apologizing for any of that.
Yeah.
Because if I apologize for that, then every future apology I make for anything is meaningless.
Sure.
So I have to protect the value of my speech
Yeah.
by not bowing. So I didn't get the job. And they gave it to the runner-up finisher who got no votes in the finals and isn't white. And so I guess they think they can just do this to me.
Wow.
But I started talking to some friends with some connections, and I have a high-powered Washington, D.C.-based lawyer with a foundation who takes on cases like this and goes after politicians for corruption with a good track record.
Yeah.
So he got on board. I had to hire my own local counsel, which is going to cost me some money. But I
Is it
have
going to be in Tennessee or Nashville or Knoxville? Okay.
So we're alleging, like, I'm trying to recover some damages because I could have spent that 100 hours doing stuff that would have made me some money. You know, I could have spent that time. And it was all based on the promise that, hey, if you win this audition, we're going to give you a year's probation.
Sure.
They didn't even bother to say, okay, look, James, we hired you in the blind audition, but we're a little concerned about your X feed and some of the stuff you post on there. Not that I'm like some right-wing extremist poster, but my views are clear. And they didn't even bother to do that. They didn't say, hey, if you're going to work here, we want you to tone this down a little bit, which I wouldn't have appreciated, but at least we could have entered into some kind of conversation.
Yeah.
They didn't even go to that step. So I guess they think that they can just do this and get away with it, and I'm going to walk away with my tail between my legs. But I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Because there is no one in the orchestral field, no musician, who has done what I'm doing. I'm in a totally uncharted territory here. And I didn't want to have to do this. I showed up to that audition because I wanted to be in the Knoxville Symphony. It was not a political statement. It was not to prove to my haters that I've still got it. It's because I have 3 daughters who are getting ready to go to college. I'm paying their car insurance. I'm paying for their cell phone that I just got my 16-year-old. You know, this stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
And I could climb the software engineering ladder competing against a lot of people who are living in other countries willing to do my same job for way less money, which is a very difficult path. It takes, I'm not a natural software engineer. I'm competent and I can do it, but it takes a lot of energy, which then I wouldn't have time to spend on my music career. And if I'm going to, you know, do something ambitious, like found a company, I don't have the skills for that. Like, I'm a musician. I need to be playing. This is what I believe I'm here to do. So I was not looking for this to be any kind of huge thing with the Knoxville Symphony. It was just like, hey, I'm going to show up like everybody else. You're going to give me a number. I'm going to compete starting at the start line like everyone else, and we'll see who comes out the winner. And I want it fair and square. And they denied me the job. So I'm suing them for damages and to make a statement that you are discriminating against me. I'm explicitly saying this in my lawsuit. You are denying me this job because I'm white. My lawyer thinks that that's a stronger count than recovering the damages for what they call promissory estoppel, which is I had a reason to believe that if I was given this job that I would get, if I won the audition, I would get the job.